Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're live, we're in the studio, so do get involved in all the chat and the comments. Going to be talking about the latest Manchester United news, the latest transfer news. We're in this sort of weird little spell where the transfer window's kind of closed for a few days, then it reopens because of the Club World Cup. But we can still have news, we can still have updates, you can still have deals going on as well. I just think you can't officially announce something or do a deal, but you can have sort of talks progressing and all that other stuff that we love. So make sure you're getting involved as we go through them all. Loads of stories to go through, as you'd expect. Good to see some of the usual suspects and some new ones in the chat as well. Real recognises Real, Jamie, Brian Casey, Mick Hullahan, Glenn F, Robert Taylor, Wayne Davis. Good to see you all. Dale Gibson says morning to all you guys as well. And we did it, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. 800,227 subscribers. We broke through with the 800,000 mark. A big thank you. We announced it last night. Big thank you to everyone who has supported the channel. And now I'm going to start mithering you to get us to 900k. Let's talk about Viktor Gyokeres. You can see from the thumb, we're going to be talking about Gyokeres and we're going to be talking about Viktor Osimhen, the two Victors. Sky Sports this morning running this little update saying that Viktor Gyokeres has reportedly told Sporting he won't play for them again after the club's president denied there was a gentleman's agreement for him to leave for 59 million quid this summer. All getting a bit messy in Lisbon, innit? The president's interview, press conference, whatever it was very weird. It just felt a little bit unnecessary. It felt like it was going to cause more drama than quash anything. And I don't know what his end game was. I don't know if he was like, look, I'm going to sort of show Viktor Gyokeres that I'm the boss here. He isn't just going to the media or leaking stories about, gentlemen's agreements. I'm not having it. But if he did feel like that, I don't know why he didn't go to the player directly maybe or the player's agent to do it publicly. Seems a little bit counterproductive. You may just argue, well, look, that's the situation. There isn't this gentleman's agreement or he doesn't believe it. So he's every right to say that. Okay, but now you're in a position where, according to Sky Sports, Viktor Gyokeres, he doesn't want to play for Sporting, which doesn't help them sell him because you're like, well, we've got to get rid of him, he won't play for us. And if they don't sell him, what are they going to do with him? Now, you could argue, well, he's not just going to sit on the bench. He's going to want to play football. But if you've got a disgruntled player who's unhappy, it doesn't make for a very productive player, does it? And it doesn't make for a very harmonious dressing room. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let me know what you think. Are you worried at all about this? Because on the one hand, you can go, great news. If United want him, if he's quitting Sporting or trying to quit Sporting and don't want to play for him anymore, that makes it easier for us. The flip side is he acting in a way that isn't great? Are you looking at him going, well, do we really want a player that's acting like this? I don't mind it particularly when players get annoyed with the owner of the club or the president of the club or the chairman of the club or whatever and the statements he's made, and when players feel like that it's their time to move on and that the club aren't being fair. We've had that before. Going back, we mentioned this last night, I think, on the on one of the, it might have been on the Transfers Live. Dwight Yorke in 99, famously, he told John Gregory, the Villa manager, that he wanted to go, or 98 it was, 98, 99 season, that he wanted to go. There's been lots of instances where players have told the club they want to leave. Lisandro Martinez did it, I think. I think he had a right go at the sort of director of football who came in and took over from Overmars and threatened him in all sorts. Basically told him, I'm going. And obviously he did, he went to Manchester United. So it's nothing new. It is quite interesting. Don't know how this is going to pan out. It's all getting a little bit soap opera, isn't it? With Viktor Gyokeres and Sporting, with all these statements and these leaks and these stories coming out. Let me know what you think. Dale Gibson says it's not great him throwing his toys out of the pram, in my opinion. Joe James Johnson's Rio Ferdinand question mark. There was talk at one point that Rio was going to go to Chelsea, but that didn't happen. So if that's what you're referencing. Chris Johnson Adventures, what a name, says Gyokeres is the one for me. Stu Cantona, another great name, says congratulations on reaching 800k, Jay, and all at Stretford. Paddock, Yinka Winkin says that was Anthony. No, Martin has definitely had a point where he spoke to the director of football and was very angry with him. I remember reading that on the news, unless it was all made up. Slick Rick says, news from Portugal, he's close to signing for Arsenal. I thought the latest we had from on Arsenal was they were going all in on Sesko. I mean, they might get Gyokeres. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. There were some reports that they were in for him, but when we looked at where the reports were coming from, there was no one really overly credible that we saw that was reporting that Arsenal were definitely going to go in for Viktor Gyokeres. Now, I don't think they're going to get Sesko and Gyokeres. The Sesko deal seems to be moving ahead. However, there could be a twist in the tail. If they end up with Viktor Gyokeres, it obviously means Manchester United. But it's not the end of the world, because we could still be in for Viktor Osimhen. We've got a Viktor Osimhen story here. This is from the Evening Standard. I want to say, yep, thank you. Could tell by the font. Man United have planned to sign Osimhen. Napoli are holding out for €70 million, which is 63.5 million quid, to sell Viktor Osimhen this summer. But United have a plan to reduce that figure. Al Hilal did think they had sealed the Nigerian's signature with the offer of €40 million over 3 years, only for Osimhen to pull the plug at the last minute. The Saudi club tried again before yesterday's first summer deadline, but again were rejected. Why? Because according to Gazzetta dello Sport, Osimhen wants to play in the Premier League. He's got 1 year left on his contract in Naples, and United sense opportunity. I think that should be sense and opportunity, not sense and opportunity. United hope they can bring the cost of Osimhen down by offering striker Joshua Zirkzee in part exchange, and the report claims Napoli are open to the idea. Swap deals are notoriously difficult to facilitate because you've got to get both players to agree, you've got to get the wages right. You have to marry up in terms of, okay, if someone's on more wages, how does that work and all the rest of it. Also, if one player is worth a lot more than the other player or a little bit more than the other player, how does that work? Are the clubs happy? Are one of the clubs happy to pay cash as well as a player? Now, they're not undoable. We did it with Henrik Mkhitaryan and Alexis Sanchez, although the less said about that deal, the better. Going back many years, we did it with Andy Cole and Keith Gillespie. People forget that was a swap deal as well as a huge fee for Andy Cole, or what at the time was a huge fee, now it'd be pennies. So it can be done, it can happen. And there was talk of Joshua Zirkzee going back to Italy. That has been a story we've covered here for several months almost. It doesn't feel like Joshua Zirkzee has quite worked out at Manchester United. I know he's very popular with the United fan base, and I like watching Joshua Zirkzee. I know that McCullough's a huge fan of his. When you watch him, he's entertaining. He's got that little bit of swagger or aura, as the kids say. He's got that bit of like, just, I don't know, he seems to just enjoy playing football, and I like to see that. He's very good on the ball, but he doesn't score enough goals, and we don't have enough goals in the team. Now, maybe that changes with Mbeumo, and, well, Cunha's already here. Hopefully Mbeumo comes in. Maybe that does change where you go, well, actually, we're not as reliant on Xerxes to score goals, so it could be okay. Can he actually play as a 9 in front of Mbeumo, say we get him, and Cunha? Does that work? Because he says he's a 9.5, which is a load of rubbish. He's not. He's probably a 10. Does it work? Do you think it works? Would you be happy if Joshua Zirkzee left and if Viktor Osimhen came in? If that was a deal that could be done, would you be all right with that? Let me know what you think. Brian Casey, who's been a member of the Academy for 28 months, says, forget 900k, Jay, talking about subscribers. Road to 1 million starts now. Get subscribing people up the paddock. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for your support over the last 5 years since we became Stretford Paddock. You've been a massive supporter of the channel. Ross Murphy says, yes, Brian Casey. Ross Murphy is another one who supported us. C. Joe James John says, he got pixelated women. Yes, we saw that yesterday in the transfer live. I have to apologise again to Joshua Zirkzee for what we did to him. We did him dirty. Let's talk. Have we got Rasmus Hojlund? Yeah. We have got Hojlund, talking of players going to Italy. This in the Mirror, as you can see. Rasmus Hojlund has insisted that he's fully focused on United amid reports he could leave for Inter this summer. Like many United players, Hojlund, yeah, we know what happened there. There was talk that Inter could be in for him. Now, I think Rasmus Hojlund will end up staying at Manchester United. I'd be very surprised if we end up selling him. I do worry. I want him to do better. I want him to turn it around. I hated what I saw last season in the way that he, the crowd just turned against him. Social media was all over him, and I think he is someone who goes on social media. And I think it was horrible to see it in the ground as well. The amount of people that are just on his case. I get it. People are frustrated, but it's not what you want to see. Is it a young player who's just struggling? He seems determined to stay unless Inter come in with decent money and unless United bring in another striker. We cannot get rid of Rasmus Hojlund if we don't bring in another striker. You can't just rely on Chido, who's a very young lad. I think he's going to smash it eventually, but he's only 17. Joshua Zirkzee, we don't even know if he is a striker. There's still a debate going on as to whether he's a 10 or a 9. I think he's probably more of a 10. The whole 9.5 thing is nonsense. Maurice Marshall says, you mean Twerksy? Very good. Santos Flow says Garnacho for 50 million and Rasmus for free as a bonus to Napoli. Some sort of joking there, obviously. Corin Curley says Rasmus and 50 million for either of the victors. Brian Casey says get Gyokeres in to show him where the goal is. I mean, I think he's to show Rasmus Hojlund where the goal is. Let me know what you think about that. Hit that like button as well, please, people. Kieran says, I feel Gyokeres and Osimhen are excellent strikers for Hojlund or Chido to learn from. It's going to be one or the other, innit? If either of them happen, there might be none. But we're not going to get both. I don't think anyone's saying that. But it'd be interesting to see who we go for. One player who's available, this just broke just before we came to film, is Jhon Duran. So he's been at Al Nassr, went there for, was it around 70 million quid? And now he's available on loan, because apparently it's not working out there. He's not happy. He's personal issues, and he could be available on loan. Just thought I'd flag it up. There's no links with him to United, but they probably will be soon. Could that be a plan C? If Gyokeres is your plan A and that doesn't happen, and then Osimhen's your plan B and that doesn't happen, could you get Jhon Duran in on loan? Would that work? Would anyone be up for that? Am I talking nonsense? Let me know what you think. I'm curious. I think if we didn't get anyone and he was available, I'd have him. I'd have him as an option. He had a very good sort of spell, didn't he, at Villa? But I don't think he should be your priority getting a player like Jhon Duran on loan. I'm just saying, if you couldn't get anyone and you are scraping around, I know that's not the most emphatic sort of backing for him, is it? If you're scraping around, just get him. But I'd rather see him come in than no one. Corin Curley, welcome to the Academy. Thank you for your support. There's extra content on the members section. Real recognise real. I'd be up for a loan. Melissa Pritchard says, too good to go to Saudi at such a young age. He went there, was he early 20s? It was a bit of a shock, that, wasn't it? Because usually people that go to Saudi, players that go to Saudi, are in the twilight of the career, coming towards the end of the career. But he was someone who was at the beginning of his career almost, and it was like he's smashing it at Villa, scoring some spectacular goals. He's more of those ones. He's more of a scorer of great goals than a great goal scorer, isn't he? He scores some absolute worldies rather than he scores loads and loads of goals. But if he's available and we can't get anyone else, maybe it happens. Kelvin Murray says Duran is world class. Ben Gregg says, feel like Hojlund got about 25% into a rude striking masterclass and he's been lost since. Let's talk about Omar Berrada. So this is by George Smith in the Manchester Evening News, and he's basically saying Berrada has given the green light to Manchester United's 3 priority sales. We kind of know this already. This feels like a bit of the, stating the obvious, but it might be, we could argue it's worth saying. Manchester United, we need to sell some players. I think the 3 players that the article highlights are the 3 that were on loan, or 3 of the ones that were on loan last season, in Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Antony. Now, the latest on Antony yesterday, I think it was that Real Betis were looking for another loan move. They wanted a loan with an option to buy. I was dead against it. I said it in my news. I think now is the time to sell him. We should be able to sell him. If Real Betis can't pony up the cash, maybe Leverkusen could be in for him. Jadon Sancho, obviously Chelsea have paid 5 million quid because they're not going to keep him. They did want him. Don't want to do Jadon Sancho a disservice here, because I think a lot of people are saying, well, Chelsea didn't even want him. Well, they did, but they wanted to pay him 90k a week. God forbid you only get 90k a week. But he's on around 250k. He didn't want to take a 160k pay cut. I understand it's still a lot of money, 90k, but asking someone to that's not the word. Asking someone to take 70% or whatever it is pay cut, it's a bit of an ask in it, and it obviously wasn't going to happen, or it's not happening. You may criticise Jadon Sancho. I've criticised Jadon Sancho a lot, but I do understand why he didn't want to take that big pay cut, and I think that's more on United rather than him for giving him such a big wage in the first place. He's going to, if he doesn't find a club, he's going to be back at United, I think, the end of June, but we'll have to wait and see, because there could still be clubs in for him. I think Dortmund have been linked with him again. Whether that's going to be another low move or a sale, we'll have to wait and see. I think with Sancho it's slightly different because of the wages he's on. Maybe you could accept a loan move, but I think Antony, you need to sell him. I think because the spell he's had has been fantastic at Real Betis. I think he should have suitors, and I think you can get 35 million quid for him. Great. Marcus Rashford is another one. Was at Villa, did quite well. I don't think he set the world alight, but he had some good games. Obviously got a lot of assists, had a very good half an hour against PSG in the Champions League, but then he got that injury, which was really frustrating. So I think Marcus Rashford can still get a move, though, because of his reputation. Because the Villa spell went all right, and because he has scored a lot of goals in the past, got himself at one point back into the England squad, didn't he, under Thomas Tuchel. So there's probably enough around Marcus Rashford for someone to take a punt and pay 30, 40 million quid for him. Again, it's the wages that are a bit of a sticking point, but if you're getting a 27-year-old Marcus Rashford for 40 million quid, maybe you can stomach paying him 300k a week or whatever he's on. Silly money. Chris Quigley says, who's been a member of the academy for 5 months, says, surely Rancho's, I think he means Sancho's wages have dropped 25% like everyone else due to no Europa. Even with the wage dropping, I don't know if it's 25%, but whatever it is, he's still on massive money. DJ Creflo, welcome to the academy. Thank you. Let's talk about what we've got here. Min-jae. So Manchester United are reportedly presented with an unexpected opportunity this summer, the chance to sign Bayern Munich South Korean centre-back Min-jae, according to TBI Football. I mean, that's a bit of a, go back to that. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Manchester United are reportedly presented, right, okay, we're presented with an unexpected opportunity this summer with the chance to sign Min-jae. Now, we were linked with Min-jae when he was at Napoli. Didn't happen, he went to Bayern. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get a centre-back this summer. Min-jae is obviously a very talented lad. You know, we have had Bayern Munich centre-backs recently. There seems to be a never-ending supply of centre-backs from Bayern Munich. We do have injury issues, or we have had injury issues at centre-back, but we've also got a lot of centre-backs who we can call upon. Mazraoui can play there. Shaw can play there. De Ligt, obviously. Euro, Aiden Heaven, Harry Maguire. Maybe even Frederiksen is still an option for you. That's 7 and counting. So I don't know. I know we've lost Victor Lindelof and Johnny Evans, but I'm not so sure we'd go in for Min-jae, especially if he's going to cost 50 million quid. Well, let's talk about his kit. Right, the Manchester United kit, there's been a bit of a thing here where it was leaked last night, I think, by Manuel Ugarte. He leaked it by accident on his social media. I think he posted this. Well, you can see the date, yeah, the time. So this was 11 o'clock last night. He posted that, and then I think, did he delete it? So he obviously got, you know, the hand on his shoulder and someone saying, what are you doing? Don't do that. So he's deleted it, and now the club have officially announced it. Someone was saying, you know, why are you promoting the kit if you're about the process? I'm not promoting it, but I think it's a bit daft to ignore the fact that Manchester United's new kit has been launched and has been announced. It is everywhere. I think it's okay. I've not bought a United kit for many, many years. So yeah, I won't be buying that one. I think it's all right. I'm not particularly impressed, to be brutally honest. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Are you impressed with the kit? Do you think it's great? Are you not bothered? Brian Casey makes a point here. He says, safe to say, from the new kit launch, Kobe is going nowhere. So Kobe Mainoo has been part of the new kit launch. Does that mean he's going to stay at Manchester United? I hope he does. I've said this for last 6 months when there's been these rumours that he could move on. I think you need to keep Kobe Mainoo. I think there's still a player there. I know he's not had the best of seasons, but he's still only 20 years old. Look at what he's done already in his United career, if you can call less than 2 years in the first team or 2 years in the first team, whatever it is, a career. You know, it was November 2023 made his Premier League debut. And he's already won an FA Cup, been player of the match in the final, got himself into the England squad, got himself to the Euros final as well, where he played a big part in that run. I just think he's a phenomenal player, and I think you can use him for many, many years to come. Real recognised Real says, I want Kobe to stay 100%. I agree too. We've got some videos coming up later on today. We've got Off the Bar coming up. So it's going to be myself, Joe Smith and Adam McCullough for that one. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You don't want to miss out that one. Also, go and check out all the other vids. We've done loads of vids recently. We've done videos looking at Christopher Vavell's, a really good video by Joe Smith there. He's like the guy who's behind all the scouting now. You can go check that out. We've had the interview with Laurie Whitwell. We've got more interviews coming up as well. We had an interview with Kieran Maguire not long ago, where we spoke about the finances at Manchester United. How can Manchester United afford, or can they afford, to make signings? How does the PSR thing work? So we've done a lot of videos covering all the different stuff as well. Go and check out all those videos. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel and hit that like button. Back later on Off the Bar. I've been Jay Motti. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.